Okay, so what you're looking at here is the Cathedral Church of St. John the Divine. This is actually a painting, and this is the actual photograph of the west side of the church, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but it doesn't appear to be that large in the photograph, but it's actually the sixth largest church in the world, and either the largest or the second largest cathedral in the world. Here is a close-up of the west entrance. As you can see here in the middle, this pillar or statue is of St. John the Divine, and I will explain who he is in just a few. These pillars on the left and the right hand side, the church calls them facades. I refer to them as pillars or statues, but the pillars on this side here, on the right side that is, I like to call them the pillars of the apocalypse, and let me show you why. Here we have a close-up of two pillars. As you can see, there's some sort of cataclysmic or catastrophic event occurring in New York City. We can clearly see in the left pillar the Twin Towers about to face destruction, along with the rest of the familiar skyline, including the Citigroup Center and the clearly visible Chrysler Tower. On the pillar to the right, we can see the Brooklyn Bridge split in half and crumbling as vehicles fall into the East River. A little lower on this pillar, you can see the New York Stock Exchange building, which I'll highlight in the next clip alongside of an actual photo, so you can see that the two are clearly the same. Now keep in mind that this cathedral was built in 1892 and officially opened on, I believe, January the 8th, 1899. But the project to add these pillars began in 1988 and was completed in 1997, which was 4 years before the towers came crashing down in 2001. Okay, so on the left here, we have a photo of one of the pillars that displays a building that looks eerily similar to the New York Stock Exchange. And on the right here, we have a photo of the actual New York Stock Exchange building. You have to ask yourself, why on earth are these images being depicted at an Anglican cathedral? And it would be strange to depict the destruction of any city, even a made-up city. But this is actually New York City, and the depiction of this coming event is displayed at a church in New York City. Kinda strange if you ask me. But in this next clip, you will see that it isn't just New York City being annihilated. If you look closely, you can see the dome of the Capitol building in D.C. apparently collapsing, with a group of people staring up at the sky with bewilderment. And below there, on the pillar, you can see olive branches right here on the bottom of the pillar. The same olive branches that are displayed on our American currency. And these olive branches are symbolic. They're known to symbolize peace in victory. Now, I'm not going to dive too deep into this one, but who is victorious? And under what conditions are there peace? It just makes me wonder. That's the question. We have here the four horsemen of the apocalypse. This is one of the same pillars. This one just happens to be photographed in color. I'm not going to delve too deep into this. I'm sure most of you are already aware of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. We have each horse here symbolizes a different facet of the biblical apocalypse: conquest, war, famine, and death. And you can see how this fits the narration of the rest of these pillars, and it'll all come full circle when I get to explain exactly who Saint John the Divine was. The Kabbalah Tree of Life. So, this Kabbalah Tree of Life, Manly P. Hall wrote Kabbalistic teachings in the Tree of Life. For those who don't already know, Manly P. Hall was one of the leading esoteric philosophers in the 1900s. He wrote many books of the occult, and he was a 33rd degree Freemason, an astrologer, and a mystic. There are many different renditions of the Tree of Life used by numerous religions and cultures, but this particular form is of the esoteric. So once again, we're seeing symbology of the occult mixed with revelations of a coming disaster in the form of beautiful artwork, so the people just marvel at its beauty rather than the meaning behind it, and simply ask no questions. Here we have a different angle of a few of the pillars. You can see the Statue of Liberty here. In this next clip, you're just going to have to go in the comment section and tell me what you think about this. It's obviously the birthing of something or someone. I'm not going to speculate as to which or what I think it may be. But that's your job. You gotta go in the comments and tell me what you think. And tell me if you can hear them trains in the background too. In 1925, Masonic World featured the Cathedral of St. John the Divine on the cover of their magazine, calling it a national treasure. Now, I will admit, this church is a beautiful structure, and like I said earlier, it is either the largest or the second largest cathedral in the world. And in this photo here, I've highlighted the dome of the church, and this might actually be the largest freestanding dome on Earth, if I'm not mistaken. And it can actually fit the Statue of Liberty underneath of it. They have a very impressive organ of 5,000 pipes that plays underneath of this dome. Sound resonance technology, but we won't get into that right now. Like I said, we're going to take baby steps here. We've got a lot to cover, and I don't want to trigger any cognitive dissonance. So stay tuned for more. There's a lot to come. We have a whole universe of mysteries to solve. Okay, so who was St. John the Divine? Otherwise known as John of Patmos, John the Revelator, John the Theologian, but most famously known as St. John the Divine, not to be confused with John the Baptist. Just had to put that out there. So, St. John the Divine is accredited for writing the book of Revelation, which describes in symbolic imagery the events of an apocalypse, coincidentally. Occultists and Gnostics alike believe that the book of Revelation was hermetically coded so that only those with eyes to see will understand the esoteric teachings within. In other words, the initiated. Okay, everybody. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe with the notification bell on, and I'll see you next time. Peace.